Welcome to the Academy of Being with Tara McCollum. Get ready for an unorthodox invitation to being you and experiencing a life that defies logic and expands miracles. Have you ever thought to yourself, what else is possible in this life? Have you ever wondered if you were missing something or could become so much more? If you said yes, then join me as I take you to places you have only dared to dream about. I will break you open and expose the brilliant core of your being, empowering you to be and have a life beyond this reality.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Academy of Being with myself, Tara McCollum. Today we're going to talk about emotional intelligence, and I'm going to share a story about how you can help your children with this, but also it's an invitation to us all. I don't know about you, but I find that children, especially my own, are a constant invitation for me to move back into a space of curiosity and wonder, but they also expand the ways that I receive, the ways that I learn, and the ways that I become more of my true self. So I'm going to start off with a story. So I took my youngest son to do horseback riding just a while ago. And he's gone horseback riding with several different trainers recently. He's very much a novice is what I want to say. So we've gone to different stables, and even at the same stables, we've had different trainers. Well, his last session, the one before the one I'm going to talk to you about, he had a trainer that he really connected with. And he had a lot of fun, he learned a lot, and he just felt incredibly empowered. So we both kind of assumed we would have exactly the same trainer going back into his session this next time. But that wasn't the case. And when we arrived, the trainer that he's had in the past, and she's definitely very good at her job, but it wasn't somebody that he connected with. So he went about doing his training, and I could see that his spirit wasn't so much there, but he was learning a ton. I mean, absolutely a ton, and he was really growing in himself. And it was really cute because at one point, pretty much at the end of the lesson, there was probably another 10 minutes left of it, he got off of his horse in order to go and blow his nose. And at the time, I was busy talking to the owner of the stables. So he couldn't come and talk to me. Now, everything in my intuition said that when he walked past me, he actually was done. He wanted to leave, and he was just kind of fed up. But he went back because he didn't have a chance to talk to me, and he went back on the horse. And I even asked his trainer, I said, is everything okay with him? And she was like, he's just going to blow his nose. He's totally fine. After the lesson was over, he did inform me that at the time that he went to blow his nose, he was intending to come up to me and let me know that he was done. He didn't want to do it anymore. He just was fed up, and he didn't want to be there anymore. And so this was a moment where I just had to breathe and say, gosh, I'm so glad you weren't able to talk to me at this point, because there's something important that you learned. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I said, you really learned to finish something. You finished your lesson, and you learned even more. And you learned also something you didn't even realize, which was to respect and honor the other person who showed up for you. Now, I teach my children a lot, as well as my clients, about having your own back, knowing when to say no, knowing when to pull out of things, just really knowing how to honor yourself. But another aspect of honoring yourself is having the emotional intelligence to honor another person too. Now, it would have been very different if the trainer in question was being mean to him, who was pushing him beyond his limits, unkind in any way, or emotionally sabotaging, right? She wasn't any of these things. She just wasn't the fun trainer that he had before. It wasn't somebody he really connected with. But what I wanted to get across to him was also the fact that we have an effect on other people. And it's really important for us to teach our children, but also as adults, to be aware that who we are and our actions really do matter. I think so often we're so aware of our own experience that we don't realize how much our choices affect other people. So we went into a conversation about what would have happened if he just did storm out of there and he didn't go back. How she might have, had really bad thoughts about herself, that she didn't do a good job. Or also that they may have just said to him, maybe you're not invited back to the stables anymore, because if you're going to walk out on something, we don't want to put you even with another trainer that might be younger, which the other trainer is, and that you're going to all of a sudden get upset and do something that could upset the horse, or that you're not going to follow through and be thoughtful and kind and thorough about your process. It's really important for us to know how we not only honor ourselves, but how we affect others in our choices. Now, there are going to be times where I have 100% empowered myself, my clients, and my children to honor themselves before anyone else, even if it affects the other person in a way that you would rather it didn't. And those situations are where someone is hurting you. Someone is going against your wishes with everything. Like they don't have a kindness in their heart towards you. In other situations like this one, where, even for myself, honoring the fact that I paid for those lessons, that we would like, if you want to continue on, then you need to honor the entire lesson so that you can show up to your next ones. Knowing how we affect the world in the way that we be, the way that we choose, and how we treat others in all situations is a part of emotional intelligence that sometimes is missing in what we're teaching these days or how we're being. I can just tell you right now that if I bring this back to myself, and I'm always going to be vulnerable with you, okay? If I bring this back to myself, there were many times where I was so focused on pleasing others and then honoring myself that I didn't actually realize that some of my choices to remove myself from situations really hurt other people, because I only thought that if I was in the active role of pleasing, that I mattered and that my mere existence didn't have an effect. And what I've realized is that my mere existence has more of an effect than I've ever given credit for. And that it's really important for me to honor that, and also to know that when I do remove myself, that it does affect other people. And so I need to do it with forethought and questions to myself about what it's going to create, and whether it's going to create a greater world for all involved. And I ask those questions a lot so that I'm making the most profound and meaningful choices ever. And part of this, I want to say to all of you, is that we need to start asking questions before we arrive at situations. And then having post conversations, even if it's with ourselves, about what happened. Rather than going into any blame or shame, just asking, was that choice the most advantageous? Did it honor in the highest degree possible? Or was there another choice that was available that we could have made that would have been more honoring? Those are beautiful choices to make because we're going to make choices all the time that we get to course correct. We might want to do it even more with more robust, right? Or we might say, oh my gosh, I thought that was the right decision at the time, but in the future, I'm going to make a totally different decision because it really didn't work out. No need for blame or shame towards yourself or anyone else. Just new choice, new awareness. And the more that we allow ourselves to do this, the more that we allow our children to also do this and to empower them with those really meaningful conversations. And when I say conversations, sometimes it is going to be a little bit of a one-way street, that you are going to ask things and even share things. Please do it from that energetic standpoint though, okay? And what I mean by that is there's a total difference to asking and sharing instead of telling and demanding or telling and shaming. And when we move into the space of truly asking and sharing, even if in the asking we don't get any answers, we just open up the space of possibilities, of thought, of pondering, that's okay. Because we've moved out of any conclusion that we have for ourselves, for our children, for our friends, or anyone else by asking the question without expectation of an answer or without an expectation of agreement. It's really just asking the question to move into a more expansive way of thinking, feeling, and choosing that is emotionally intelligent for ourselves as well as for others. I would love to hear any of your questions or comments on this, how you're dealing with it, there's times where I fail with this, right? I really do. And my kids keep me on my feet or on my toes, whatever you want to say, in these situations. And myself, even with myself, I have to stay on my toes with the ways that I wish I could react, and yet some of those wishes would sabotage my life instead of taking a moment, taking a breath, and choosing what's most expansive for the future that I desire. So I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks again for showing up for another short episode of the Academy of Being. We'll have some longer ones coming up, but I just wanted to give you some of these slices of time and thought to inspire you and to get those juices rolling, to have a more amazing experiential life, one where you truly are allowed to be the fullness of yourself and invite others around you to be the fullness of themselves. Gosh, I'm tripping over my words at the moment. Have a wonderful day. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Academy of Being with Tara McCollum. You can be a part of creating the shows by sending in questions or comments, as well as sharing what is happening in your life as you apply these principles and tools. Don't hesitate to reach out.